Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Caro and what we do here is I share with you some reviews and content about books I love. And today I want to share with you my review about this amazing book I have here, Breast to Next by Mieko Kawakami. She's a Japanese writer. And oh my god, this book is mind-blowing. I really think it's gonna be one of my favorite books of the year, and it's just April, but really amazing. Before I start, I want to make a pause and remind you, if you like my content and if you like my videos, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click on the button that you see on top and turn on the notification by clicking on the bell so you get to know when I upload new videos, and then we're still in touch after this. And that being said, let's start. So how can I start with this great book? It's just amazing in so many different ways. It took a while to get it because it's written, as I told you, the writer is Japanese. It was written in Japanese many years ago, and it's just been translated to English like, yeah, almost 2 years ago, I would say. So it took a while, and then it was very difficult to get it from the US because it was sold out. And then bringing it to Mexico, it's a whole other soap opera. So I was desperate to get it, and it took me a while, but I finally got it. If you're in Mexico, I got it by Amazon, via Amazon. However, it took some time. It was first available on Kindle, but I really feel this was a book I had to have in paper. And then I found it after many months, and then it supposedly was gonna take a month to come here in Mexico, but at the end it just took 15 days, but well, if you're looking for it, just be patient because it's really demanded book. Now, speaking specifically about this, it's just, I don't want to give you any spoilers, but it's just the story about a woman called Natsuko who lives in poverty, and across the book, it's actually 2 books made in one in English, so you start seeing her evolution, also personally, also economically, also in terms of life goals across many years. And I think the most shocking thing, not shocking, but I think relevant thing, is this is a book that proves totally that it's possible to create stories that are super profound, super deep, super worth sharing, and they don't necessarily have to have men or talk about love as in romantic relationships. And I mean, this might sound very obvious, but it's an icebreaker because I think right now in literature it's very difficult to get, number one, books written by women, number 2, books that are not about heterosexual romantic relations, number 3, books that are not about women that are always orbitating about men, number 4, books about women that have such deep stories that doesn't involve romantic love, heterosexual romantic love. It's just a book that doesn't fall in any of the current or cliche boxes that we know, and I think just for that it's already brilliant. It's a book in which there are no male characters at all. I mean, there are, okay, like 2 or 3, but they are not very relevant. Like, they are just as, if not, I don't want to say decoration, but they are just there to sustain the story, but they are not exactly a key role of it. And then the women that are there, they have their own stories, their own past, their own depth, but there's no conversation about men, because that also happens. Sometimes they try to make books in which men are not the main character, but anyway, women are always talking about men, and that's the same thing, just different disguise. And in this case, the conversations are about life, about ethics, about many things, about problems, about intersections of life, but not about men, which I think it's a great new way of telling stories. And also, they are not orbitating towards romantic love. Like, there are just a few characters that have a romantic relationship, and it's just like something they mention like easily, nothing too deep. So in that sense, in between lines, even though it was not the objective of the writer, she already said it before, but the result is we get a story in which women are super deep characters that not necessarily need a man to have a very deep life. So in that sense, I think it's already brilliant. And the author already said it. I watched a video about it, and I'm gonna share it on my Instagram if you haven't followed me yet. The account is ¿Qué lees, Caro? Which means, what are you reading, Caro, in English? I know it's a little bit difficult to get it just by me talking about it, but I'm gonna put it on the description of this video. So back at this, I'm gonna share this interview of Mieko Kawakami, but she explains really clearly how when she wrote this book many years ago, she was not thinking about making a feminist novel, even though she doesn't deny it has a feminist part of it. But her main objective was to talk about the ethics and all the philosophy behind the reproductive rights. Like, who has the right, the ethical right, to bring life to this earth, and all the deep stuff that is behind it. Is one of the, in that sense, it's one of those books that I say they send you back to the therapist, because it's just so deep. It's just so deep to think, do I have the right to bring life to this earth? Who has the right? Why does it have? Is it possible that is a reason, not selfish reason, to bring children to life? Like, it's just deep, and I'm not gonna tell you the answer because I don't even have children, but just the talk about it. She has have children, that's why she has this deep philosophical issue. It's just mind-blowing. Just thinking about it, it's crazy. And that's a concern about humans, not only women, but humans in general. And then also there are many components about intersections of the class. For example, like, these characters here are suffering of poverty most of their lives, and you can see the struggle and how this, for me, it's old school, but it's actually very actual, this horrible, stupid thought about poor people being poor because they want to be poor, because they are lazy, and then rich people being rich because they make a lot of effort and they are super smart, which is not the case. And she, in this interview, she explains it very well, that it's cycles. People who's poor has a huge probability to keep being poor when they die, and rich people have already so many opportunities that they will probably keep being rich their whole lives. So you can see that here in the story as well, how it's another intersection. Like, Japanese culture is also very misogynist, very unequal in terms of gender, and then if you add to that this layer of poverty, then you are way ahead of opportunities and way vulnerable to many different problems that probably privileged men don't have. And also there's one more layer, which is asexual people. Like, there's people who really don't want to have sexual relationships or even romantic relationships, but they might have the inner desire to have children. And how can that happen? How is the ethical frame of that? It's just such a deep book, and I don't want to stay in that much anymore because I know it's been very long, but those are some of the key lines of the book, and they are just mind-blowing. I think it's just a jewel of book, because also this was written, I'm not so sure exactly when, but about maybe between 5 and 10 years ago. It's not recent at all. And then it was written in a society that is even more conservative than some of our societies in this part of the world. So just by that, by writing such a revolutionary novel in that context, I think it's also brilliant. And then, as I mentioned, it's a book that doesn't fall into the boxes. It's a book that takes you and make you like wonder about your own desires, consider their own opportunities. You, some way or other, you feel reflected on the story, and it's all about women, and it's all about networks, and it's all about what do we want to do with our bodies. It's just so empowering, and it's brilliant. I really hope you read it. I don't want to go in deep because otherwise I'll be spoiling it, but I'm gonna leave the details in the description. And if you have read it, or if you're gonna read it, please comment and let me know what did you think. And let's be in touch. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching this video.